What up, y'all? It's your boy, Sheik Luch, LOXD Block, Silverback Gorilla up in here. Hey, yo, Po, what's good, fam? You know what I'm saying? Right now, we PoPolitickin with my homie, Po. You heard? PoPolitickin, that's hard. You know what I mean? Where self-help meets hip-hop. You know what I mean? That's what it is, man. Po was good. DJ period, just two black brothers. You know what I'm saying? We three black brothers. The Logs doing what we do, too. You know what I mean? Preserving the hip-hop culture and all that, and introducing the future stars. Hey, yo, keep shining, King. You already know what it is, man. We got you over here. You do your thing over there. Sheik Luch, LOXD Block. Yeah, PoPolitickin. Peace.
PoPolitickin.com.
What's up, y'all? It's Jason Chu. I am on PoPolitickin. We're going to politic and build and connect. Let's go.
My life's scrolling by, highlights scrolling by. I see myself in your eyes, I feel so alive. You got me tongue-tied, unravel it if you like. You can tell when I lie, from you where do I hide?
Checking myself out in this black mirror. Look at my outfit, isn't it a killer? They say if a pine tree was to go timber and nobody was around, the forest wouldn't remember. I was back in New York, it was back in December. The photo of 30 Rock looked like a greeting from Santa. Cupcakes at Magnolia always look like a winner, but I would prefer the dumplings that they serve near the Chambers Street station. Glasses on, I look at life with my lens craft. Face ID, I got it like a pin pad. Whitewash the girl, they told me other colors look bad. I guess the yellow always remind them of witchcraft. Why buy the 6 when they got the 7? Rest in peace to my headphone jack, I hope it's up in heaven. Don't go to church no more, but I will stream the sermons. Nowadays we'd rather live a meme than die a legend. Yeah.
My life's scrolling by, highlights scrolling by. I see myself in your eyes, I feel so alive. You got me tongue-tied, unravel it if you like. You can tell when I lie, from you where do I hide?
If I occur in your mentions, please pray for me. It's been a long week and I ain't found time to feed. If I disappear from this earth, was it the result of curse? Or did a higher plane just open up vacancy? You got me subscribed, I just wanted the free Wi-Fi, a fire fit and a walk along the high line, a pint of cider or a cup of chamomile. I'm simple in desire, I don't need the second phone line. The candle was a votive, I used to wanna get quoted. Now I just wanna learn to be devoted. Fell out of line like an old notification. That red numeral haunt me like a seance. God bless the decimals in every algorithm. The court cases that tell corporations that they live in. I find my space in the recycle bin, and I wonder if it's true that stray dogs go to heaven. Amen.
Tap me on the shoulder,
Tap me on the shoulder.
I'll hold you in the dark. They say all we need is time, but all we got is us.
Welcome back to PoPolitickin.com. Your home is hip hop. Make sure you go on Spotify, we're on Apple Music, we're on Google Play. Type in PoPolitickin and listen to some of our interviews since 2008. 1-2-1-2, I'm a place to be with Jason Chu. How you doing, bro?
Hey, man, I'm living out here, you know? Living and surviving and thriving one day.
So where you from?
Yeah, so I stay in LA. I actually did grow up in the Northeast, though. I grew up in Delaware and Connecticut. And then I made the move out to LA like 7 to 8 years ago.
So how you got involved with hip hop?
Man, I just grew up in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely, I don't know what people think about when they think Delaware. Probably not hip hop, but just, you know.
I don't think nothing. I know it's the smallest state, right? Or New Hampshire, the smallest state.
We not even the small. Rhode Island, the smallest. But you know, it was just growing up. You know, young kid, like trying to find something to listen to, having the homies around, and you know, hip hop was just naturally what we gravitated towards. Especially, you know, obviously being people of color, like wanting to have that perspective of somebody talking from outside the system. You know, so it definitely was what I just came up with, and I've had always a lot of good homies who brought me into the culture and all that.
Yeah, I would say. So who brought you into the culture?
Yeah, so it was my boy Yusef. Really, it was okay. So it was the corniest way possible. It was great. It was in an AP Latin class. we was in there, and we was talking about, I'd always like listen to it on the radio, and just always was interested, and just thought it was cool, right? But so I'm Chinese American, so definitely that was not, it wasn't like my pops was playing Pac, you know what I'm saying, when I was coming up. But my boy Yusuf and I were chopping it up one time, and he was just like, "Yo, man, you gotta, dig a little deeper," because he knew I always enjoyed like words and literature. So he put me on to Jay-Z, Volume 2. He put me on to Aesop Rock, Labor Days, and he put me on to what was it? It was Deltron 3030 from Del the Funky Homo Sapien. He was like, "Yo, man, do the knowledge on these, like really, really dig into this." And then that's when I like really discovered
What Jay-Z said?
just
What
the
Jay-Z
beauty.
album you said?
Volume 2.
Okay. Yeah, he put you on the wrong Jay-Z album. He should have put you on the original without first.
Yeah, I mean, we rewound then, and then did 22 twos and everything.
Okay.
But yeah, that's how he kind of really, really mentored me into it. You know what I'm saying?
And then when did you start like rapping and stuff?
So, of course, like, just kids do. Like, we was just always playing around, spitting, during lunch times, on the bus and whatever. And just, just playing around. I had the composition book, had the little black and white joint. But for me, when I started taking it serious was really when I got into college, and the school I was at, we had a recording studio. So I could literally be then, and wild nights, I was in there all night, just like recording, listening back, playing back, jacking for beats and all that. And yeah, that's when I really started taking it serious, and learning that my voice could say something, because we had a little rap group at our school. It was me, it was a Puerto Rican dude from Hoboken, New Jersey, and a black dude from Milwaukee. And we was just like the hip hop heads.
I
You know
had
what I'm saying?
the diversity crew.
Yo, man, we had
a white
our
producer.
little,
A white producer.
we had our little United Colors of Benetton. You know what I'm saying?
All right, and then you was so you kind of was mentioning this too. You were saying, I read your you said being an Asian American in a Black rooted art form. So I want you to talk about that.
Definitely, man, definitely. Like, I'd say that for me, so much, and this is, I've realized what really got me and captivated me with hip hop, from my first listen of it, was, like I said, I'd always enjoyed words, and I always enjoyed, storytelling. But I felt like so often, the way that I'd seen it come about was, oh, write an essay for English class or whatever, and it was always judged up to certain standards, very white standards, obviously. But then, through hip hop, through legends, right, like KRS, Rakim, Wu-Tang, that was the first time I really saw people using words not to ingratiate themselves with white America, with authority figures, but to say, hey, come to where we're at. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's to open that door into the experience, into the community, and that for me has really, really shaped so much of my understanding of how to move through this world as a person of color, as somebody whose experiences are often not seen as normal. And instead of saying like, oh, I got to make myself palatable for someone else, I can learn to love myself. So I'll say that for me, seeing and understanding so much of from Black artists, from Black culture, from Black artists, it's taught me a lot about how to carry myself and move in an Asian American community, and really even from artists that are very rooted in understanding Blackness, that pushed and sharpened me in saying, do I even understand what it means to be Asian American? There's 150 years of our community and culture, and
where you get that 150 from?
So 150 comes from the first Chinese indentured servants showed up in America in the 1870s, right? And this is why, because it was right after the Emancipation Proclamation, they were building the railroads across the country, and now they didn't have this, exploitable labor source from Black folks. So that's actually how the first major wave of Asian immigration came over. Was they said, "Yo, we can't get people to work for free from us from over here, so we're just going to look to the other ocean." So that's where kind of the Asian American story starts.
Okay. And then even like I know because I was watching your video history, and you was talking about like the injustice. But I've been saying my homie, man, he's Japanese, and he was telling me, I guess it's kind of like every race, but he was telling me like sometimes the Japanese will beef against the Chinese or Koreans will beef against. So it's like y'all got your own. Well, every race do too, but y'all got your own and stuff like that going on too, right?
Oh, why definitely. Yeah, man. I mean, so this is something that I talk about a lot with my Asian Americans, right? Is that the difference between race and ethnicity? You know what I'm saying? Where like, I know like in the Black community, right? For example,
we do light skin, dark skin, then the Africans beef against the Blacks here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I grew up. My best friend growing up was Nigerian, right? And so so in the same way that like the way that like Africans and descendants of slaves have certain frictions, it's very similar ethnically for a lot of our people. Like, I mean, even for me, right? Like the Chinese were wild imperialistic all across Asia, and so and then the Japanese, right? During sort of that. You blazing too strong right now, man.
No. It ain't the right one. Hold on. All right, we good. My fault.
Oh, good, man.
Sorry, y'all.
That's how people know it's real. That's how people know it's real.
All right, we back.
Yeah, but as in any group, right? There's going to be internal tensions. There's going to be some bad blood from the history. But for me, also one thing that I really try to push and advance in a lot of this Pan-Asian racial consciousness is, whatever happened in the old country, in the old continent, once you get here, they see us all as the same, so you could be, and we see this right now, right? We see this right now where you can be Vietnamese and your country was literally colonized by others, right? Or you can be Korean and the Koreans have a lot of tension with Japanese and Chinese, but you come to America and if, there's a certain narrative against China, like there is right now, you see Korean cats getting, blamed, getting attacked, getting assaulted for something that China did. So to me, this pan-ethnic racial consciousness is super important for Asian Americans to push because, we got to stick together and we got to push that common struggle forward.
Yeah, but I noticed one thing because like me, I worked in biotech for like 15 years. So I know like as far as like with jobs, it's like I guess like I want to say white people, like they view Asians as smart. And then I saw Asians have a lot of jobs, like especially in biotech. It was like most of the people working in biotech now are Asians.
Yeah.
So is that like is that a true statement? Like y'all don't have really problems with like jobs and stuff like that, do we? Like getting jobs and stuff like that? Because that's like something we go through. Like it's hard for us to get jobs. Like does y'all go through that?
Yeah, so I think like a lot of it, like there's definitely areas that we're overrepresented in right now. And that's, that's for certain reasons. One of those reasons is actually because of racism. And what I mean by that is the kinds of Asians that they'll let into the country, right? The people who will wind up here getting visas or who are able even to come over and bring their families over was very, very restricted and limited. So you're not actually seeing the cross section of Asian America there. You're seeing the ones that literally they're taking, the cream of the crop from China or from Taiwan or from Korea, and they're letting them in. But there's others that aren't. But the flip side of it too is the Asians you don't see, right? And so the consciousness about Asian Americans is very much focused on like Chinese and Koreans and Japanese, but 40% of Asian Americans are brown and dark skinned. Actually,
yeah, I was actually about to say that because I would say my boy, he's Filipino, and I saw some pictures of Filipinos. They darker than me, look just like me. I saw them pictures, and then he was like, "Yeah, it's a lot of. It's a different name for them," but he said, "Yeah, they're out there." So you never see those people.
Exactly, right. And so I always talk about the pieces of Asian America that people often don't see, because it's like you think about the Hmong, which a lot of people don't know about, right? But now um, the Hmong and a lot of people know about the Cambodians, right? A lot of people know about Cambodians because they're seen as like hood Asians, and so you
Yeah,
got this
I would
this
say they. I got Cambodian friends, and they actually refer to themselves like as the Black Asians. That's their
exactly
words,
right,
not
and
me.
no,
Yeah.
no, no, and so the thing is, right? Like this narrative of like, yo, Asians are smart, Asians are successful, Asians got good, like
They
upper
look
middle
good at
class
math and
jobs.
stuff. Yeah.
Exactly right. Like that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Until you realize, like for example, Cambodians actually, um, they got one of the lowest high school graduation rates in America.
Mm.
The Hmong, which are this sort of tribe from Southeast Asia, they actually have some of the like lowest per family income in the country. And then when the narrative is just like, oh, yo, Asian, like YG says on the record, like, yo, we go flocking at Asian houses because they don't put their money in banks.
Mm.
Um,
Damn.
like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Is
there's
that
some
true?
truth to that. I mean, I'm not gonna divulge the family secrets, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But,
But I mean,
but
even with that too, it's a lot of Black people don't put their money in banks, and I mean, the reason is because white people took it. So it's like shit. Why you go put your money in the bank if that shit your great grandma had all this money in the bank and they just took it out the bank? So they don't forget. I don't blame them.
I mean, we saw what happened in '08, right?
Yeah.
We saw what happened and who suffered. But so what I really, encourage, so those stereotypes you're talking about, there's some truth to them, but it's a selective truth. You know what I'm saying? Just like the stereotype, yo, all blacks are good at, ball
And
and
rapping.
rapping and dance so good.
That's the
But
main
but then
one. I know that ain't true. Just the
right,
rapping was people like that.
look
I
at
know a
where
lot
that
of
come
Black people
from.
can't rap.
And that's like a cool, at first it's cool, it's like, oh, if you're black then you're popping, but then you realize that shit is based in actually slavery. That shit is based in the valuation of black bodies for their ability to entertain, their ability to perform for the white gaze. And you're like, yo, I don't know if that's really a compliment,
You must be a
or
teacher
is
or
it,
something.
huh?
You must be a teacher.
Nah, I just try to stay informed, you know what I'm
Man,
saying?
you know some shit. I see you. You know your history really well. And then
Bro,
when
yeah.
you was talking, I was thinking about hip hop, and I was thinking like how hip hop kind of like works with all cultures. But then I was thinking you can actually say the same thing about martial arts when you look at it.
Very true.
Yeah,
Very
that kind
true.
of because I was thinking that's like when I think like yeah, I said that kind of opens the door for everybody. And then I said even if I look, you like early films like Bruce Lee, he was always working with Black people. He had a
Bro,
lot of Black students. He had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I remember. He had a lot of Black students he was working with.
Bruce's first American student was a black dude. It was a black dude who said he'd faced racial violence, and Bruce was like, "That's not right. I'm gonna like teach you up to make sure that like you're able to like confront certain situations." So that's man. That's there's a I don't know if you did you see that ESPN 30 for 30
Nah,
like water.
I
They
heard
just
about it.
yeah, it's powerful, man, because you realize like Bruce was our Muhammad Ali. That's really who he was for our community. Not just he wasn't our Floyd Mayweather. He was our Muhammad Ali.
But I'm saying why you say Muhammad Ali? Because shit, Muhammad Ali went to jail and shit like that. So did Bruce go through stuff like that?
So people are like, "Yo, Bruce was popping in America, right?" Yes and no. So what actually happened, right? So Bruce was in America. He did his thing. He faced so much racism on the job trying to break through in Hollywood. He actually had to go back to Hong Kong and then pop off there before coming back to America. So he did, and now everyone loves him. But in the same way, it's that sanitized narrative. You know what I'm saying? It's that. Oh, he was. It's the same thing they do to MLK.
Well, yeah, it's what
And
they're
they're
doing
like,
to it's what they're doing to Kaepernick. I already see it. Like 20 years from now, Kaepernick gonna be like the hero. Like they gonna love him. But it's like, how are y'all doing him now? Like even Ali. Like Ali, you know how he was all
mm-hmm,
shaking and shit. Ali wouldn't have been like that if y'all didn't take his fucking championship away from him in all those years he couldn't fight. So then he trying to keep fighting to get that money back. Now he's like all slow and messed up and shit. And that's because of y'all. But then Ali's a hero. But y'all look like y'all did him. But he's a hero.
I was just reading. It looks like they're gonna let Cap try out. It looks like they're gonna let him do the tryouts in July.
Man, but that shit ain't. I don't know. To me, it's like, bro, you already took like 2-3 of his years. So it's like,
no, I feel. I say that to agree with you. I say that to agree with you because now they're trying to revise the narrative, right? Now Roger Goodell, even motherfucking Trump, be like, oh, he should get a shot. Like you can tell they're trying to twist the narrative and say, oh, we was always behind him, just blah blah blah, didn't want. But no, we remember, right? And that's you said history. That's why history to me is wild important. Because if you forget history, you're gonna buy into the bullshit.
Yeah,
but we remember.
Like, it's history, but then if you don't know your history, it's his story. If you don't know your history, so it's like people people that was there. That's the real history. But then it's like media always portray it how they want to portray it. Media is always number one is the one telling the story. And that's not really the story all the time.
Man, and that's why again, it goes back to my hip hop culture, man, because hip hop culture has always presented the alternative narrative. I remember Pusha T has the line, he said, I was in the kitchen with a sketch of Michael Frey Salters. And all this, even Dave Chappelle in the last, the piece of content he put out a couple weeks ago when he was talking about Christopher Dorner. And I think people forgotten about Christopher Dorner, but I don't know how I won't assume your age range, but I remember Dorner, man. I remember when he was, doing his thing, and people try to erase that, but we remember. That's why we tell these stories, right?
Okay. And then how would you describe your style as an MC?
As an MC, definitely poetic, definitely, kind of I would say low key lyrical. I'm not a Jadakiss, I'm not a Fab. But I try to very storytelling, very, very lyrical, very relaxed. Just trying to bring people into a space where, their hearts can open up a little bit. Cause I think especially, right now, but really always,
they're finna do a versus, right? Jadakiss and Fab.
Yeah, I saw that. I just saw that. I think that's why they're in my head right now.
Yeah.
And it's wild funny, right? Because they just did the John Legend and Alicia. Yeah. Man, that versus series is really popping off.
Man, we got some. I think what we finna do, it's like, we underground, but I think what we doing is gonna be better because we're doing an indie rap battle. So it's basically like artists I interviewed, but it's like you pick a song, they pick a song, and then somebody, like we got three voters. So somebody votes on it, then you go to the next round. Because what I don't like about versus is, and even all these rap battles now, it's like they quit voting. It's like, man, y'all gotta vote. Mm-hmm. That's the part they messing out. Like vote.
I miss that. I miss the judge battles. Yeah.
They keep like now it's like, oh, it's just all in fun. Like, man, that's just a concert then. That ain't no damn battle. Y'all ain't voting. If ain't nobody winning, then it's just a concert. To me.
Yeah. Although I know sometimes, obviously, you look at a Loaded Lux, you're like, oh, he washed him. But it's not always. Leaving it up to popular.
Was that
opinion.
Always like that? Because I remember back in the day, they was like even on the battles they used to vote. Like when did they get away from voting in the battles? I'm saying straight up battles. When did they get away from?
Yeah. I think it was like because I definitely got my because shout outs to MC Jin, right? Like that's one of our
shout out to China Mac.
Shout out to China Mac. And I know that they've they've resolved their little tension.
Yeah.
But definitely being a fan of battle culture. I remember it was, I think 2012, 2013, right? When they stopped doing it freestyle and when they stopped doing it over the beats.
Yeah, cause I'm like, that shit like now, man, that's like, I mean, the battles are actually better now, but they took that part out of it. So it's like, you can't have nothing like it's weak. So describe your creative process when you're making music.
Yeah, man. I always, I guess when I'm just making to make stuff, I just love getting in with my producers and catching vibes. I think that it's always got to come from a place of real feeling, real feeling, real authenticity. So I love just locking in with some of the homies who make beats and seeing what comes out in the moment, So I'm definitely a writer. I'm definitely somebody who, enjoys crafting crafting songs and records. But for me, recently, what it's really been is just listening to music and, in the studio playing through beats or if I'm up with one of my instrumentalists, um, listening to things until something captures where I'm at in that moment and then writing from there. Because, I always want to come from a place of authenticity and being able to offer really, my full self. So that's what it's been recently. But I'm definitely a writer, definitely somebody who likes structuring his shit.
And like, you got a project called Living Room.
That just dropped top of this month.
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, man. So Living Room. So the funny thing about Living Room actually is we did that whole thing. We had it all ready to go a little over a year ago. But then we shelved it. We were like, because it's very, very relaxed. It's definitely music to kind of let loose some of the tension,
I would say already the song I like the most. I only heard a little bit of it, but the song that kind of caught my eye, and I want you to send me that song, is that Chill Hop one. I've been fucking with Chill Hop, man. Chill Hop is hard.
So exactly. See, like that's because that was our whole vibes when we was making that. Because that record started. So I was back in Delaware, moving my parents out of the house that I grew up in. Right, like 26 years they lived in that house, and then they were like, you know what, you and your sister are gone. Forget this house. So they moved to a better situation for them. And I was lying there in my childhood bedroom, just kind of looking at the posters on the wall. All my furniture is gone, and I was just feeling that moment. So like I said, it came out of that moment. I started writing some verses and some records right then, and then we built this whole very nostalgic, very chill feeling record off of the strength of that. But it was summer 2019. Nobody was trying to just chill out. Everybody was getting real trapped out, getting real energetic, getting real loud. And so we shelved it. We said, it's not really the right moment in the world right now. But then at the very top of quarantine, I was talking to my team, and we were saying there was supposed to be another EP that was going to come out with my crew. But the vibes were those like turn up mosh pit type energy. And we were saying, man, everybody's just stuck in quarantine right now in their living rooms. It's the time, to give people something that they can just sit and vibe to and kind of let out that tension. So that's where that record came from. And it's just, some things for people who need to rest and refresh and sit around and feel a little bit of what's pent up inside and let it go.
So what's next for you after this?
Yeah. So next we got a series of like online house concerts that we're trying to throw based around this living room concept. Everybody's stuck at home or at least a lot of the people who are really trying to listen to science, I think, are kind of sitting around at home. So we're trying to throw that series. I got a couple of collabs coming out with some other artists. And really what it is though is just kind of continuing to push this message of like, yo, let's take care of our community, let's take care of ourselves. Mental health is a big message for me, especially for people of color, wanting to make sure that, people are just doing that self-care, even if we're stuck at home.
Self-care like what?
Self-care, like, sometimes it's okay to turn off the phone. Sometimes it's, okay to meditate. Sometimes, instead of thinking about what our lives were like back then, just embracing the moment, being meditative, being reflective.
All right, now I was checking out this post. So what are some of your interests outside of music?
Outside of music, man, I'm really into streetwear. I'm really into like young independent streetwear designers. There's this cat down in North Carolina, this young black designer that I'm really messing with. His thing's called Vautour, Vautor, and there's this other collective out of Chicago called Hidden Characters. That's this Filipino dude and this Taiwanese girl, and I love people who are making dope culture, and I love to keep up on that, especially when it's not corporate,
What that mean?
when it's not top down.
How are you involved with that? What do? You talking about you buy the clothes or what?
Man, I just look online for dope shit and buy it, patronize it, share it, connect with them, try to try to. I feel like, especially right now, right? I think in the last, I mean, hip hop has always been about fashion, right? But I think definitely in the last like 10 years, um, you could point to Kanye, um, and I think that there's been a lot of hip hop artists and hip hop fans who are really into like design in general,
Yeah,
and just
but,
getting inspired. You know.
I think still one of my favorites, like far as with the fashion, and he
Mm.
might be overlooked, but he's really fly and he's always been fly. Is AZ. So I've been asking a lot of the guests, what's a good way to flip a G right now?
Right now, I was just talking to the homie about this. He an entrepreneur. We thinking right now, just hold that money. But
Uh,
2021, everybody, like, all the things that got postponed this year are really going to be popping off. So if you got the photo booth business, if you got the wedding business, just anything, that like is gonna come back in full vengeance. I feel like it's time to definitely. He and I were talking about like trying to buy up like wedding supplies and shit and just hold them somewhere.
wedding supplies like what?
Like I don't like them bows you put on the chairs. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh,
folding chairs.
because people probably ain't getting married. Well, not probably having weddings right now, huh?
Yeah, people not having weddings right now, and I feel like a lot of companies are going out of business, right? Because they're all like they all had hella shit cancel on them. So we were actually just talking about with some of the stimulus money, trying to get a little side hustle. So that to me is where the future is at.
What you talking about with the bows? You talking about buying them then reselling them, or like what you talking about doing with the bows and stuff?
Yeah. Buy low, sell high. So I feel like right now, all of those types of things are kind of not popping. I just saw this other dude on this one Facebook group. He was like, he's like a fly fisher, and he was like, "Yo, people are really really getting into fishing right now because that's something you can do solo." So you know, anything that people can do on their own right now, I think there's a lot popping off.
Yeah, okay. And then give us an interesting story that happened in your life.
Interesting story that happened in my life. Um, Man, where do we begin? Let's see. I think definitely one of the craziest times for me. Okay, so this is how I started a rap crew in China. So I was in China. So I'm Chinese American. I grew up speaking only English at home because that's just sort of what my parents. They're both very fluent in English and all that. So I was studying abroad in order to learn Chinese, and I was walking through a Chinese like shopping mall one time, and I had on this like cotton candy camo like crew neck kind of joint, and then I hear some dude go, "Oh shit, what is that? Where you get that?" And it was this Chinese dude, this chubby Chinese dude with tats and dreadlocks, and he was selling the matching zip up hoodie, and so we just started chopping it up because this was a little while ago. So this was when hip hop wasn't really popping in China the same way. So when you saw somebody who dressed a certain way, you were like, "Oh, who are you?" And he was like, "Yo, man, what do you do?" I was like, "Oh, I'm a student and I'm a rapper." He was like, "Well, me too." So literally, it was like the most hip hop iconic scene, except this was in this like Chinese shopping mall in the middle of Beijing, and he threw on a beat and he was like freestyling in Mandarin, and I was freestyling in English. It was like, "Yo, man, you should come to my studio," and I was like, "All right, bet." And I was like, "Yo, this dude's definitely gonna kill me or like steal my shit," but we went to the studio. We recorded like 3 songs that day. It was like, "Yo, man, come over this weekend." I was like, "All right, fuck it. You haven't, molested me yet." So I, I came, I popped back up at his. So this dude, he was like, he had like the Nike Dunks straight from the factory, the Dunk SBs. He had the like, the Japanese only Levi's, and he was selling it to this little like hip hop community in Beijing. And so he was like, "Yo, man, let's go to a show." So we went to a show and we like freestyled on stage and just like kept in touch. And I went back to the States, back to school, and we keep in touch on Messenger. And then I went back, and in that year that I was away, he'd started like based on the records. He put out a CD with the records that we made. And when I went back, there was like shows and there was like I I was studying during the week, and then all weekend I just disappear and go off living the rapper life in like studios and fucking like underground, like 8 Mile looking shows. And it all came because I was wearing this Bape cotton candy joint. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, the culture recognizes.
So what is he doing now?
He's actually living in Japan, still doing reselling. So he cops shit in Japan and sells it in China, vice versa. And he's actually, if you've heard of 88 Rising, Rich Brian's label and Higher Brothers and all those guys. He's actually, I think, doing some work with them too.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's active still. That's my boy, Paco.
All right. Then what would you like to say to your fans and supporters?
To the fans, like, just thank you. Like, I never in my life, man, did I think that as a Chinese kid growing up in Delaware, I would ever get to have a voice the way I do. And to have a voice and a platform. And, when I put out a record and people take note, I'm just thankful and grateful. And I'm really excited to keep making more shit that comes from the heart for people to receive.
All right, man. Anybody just not hearing about you through this interview, why should they go follow you and check you out?
I think that definitely, like this whole interview, I think I come from a very informed perspective. I got my motto is fear is easy, but hope is real. And, I think there's a lot of fear in the world right now. There's a lot of fear in people's hearts. And if we're trying to build a better future, I think that my music can give people a little bit of that injection of, let's work together. Let's build something beautiful together. So, if you're down for that, I would love to be the soundtrack to that.
All right, bro. I want to say thanks for coming through politicking with me. What's your social media and everything?
Yeah, everything, everywhere is Jason Chu Music. Jason CHU Music. Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, email, website. Just get at me. If there's anything that you want to talk about further, if there's anything that you disagree with and you want to yell at me, let's hash it out.
What's up, everybody? This is Po from PoPolitickin.com. I'm into wholesale real estate. I did an online course and I thought it was pretty cool, so I want to share it with y'all. The name of the course is called the Varsity Class, and it's an online course that will teach you the tools to become a real estate investor. This course will show you everything you need to know about wholesaling properties and real estate that can potentially earn you $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 or more. So you can make a lot of money in this wholesale real estate. This is a good course to get you get your foot in the door. So you can change your life today. And the link is bit.ly/Po Homes. So bit.ly/Po Homes with an S. So thank you. Check it out. I'll holla. Thanks for listening to PoPolitickin. Like I said, this is self-help meets hip-hop. Try to interview the artists or whoever I'm interviewing. Just try to get a little bit more than just the music or just entertainment. Try to get some stuff that you can use in your life that they're saying. And this is, like they say, I got it out the mud. So 2008 we started it and been doing it this whole time. So I appreciate all the listeners we have, all my loyal listeners that stay down and listen to every episode. And so if you want to be a guest, make sure you got some fire. I want some heat. But you can contact me at PoPolitickin@gmail.com. Yeah, if you want to be a guest, hit me up. And also make sure you check out the store. We sell merch, rappertshirts.com. Rappertshirts.com. So I got the PoPolitickin merch on there. Got rapper t-shirts, got men's fashion, women's fashion, got cool stuff on there. Anybody, you want to make donations, you just like what you hear, it's cool, I want to support this, keep going, because, it takes money to build this and keep growing it. It's Cash App, $PoPolitickin. That's PoPolitickin. I appreciate that. Or PayPal, Venmo. It's always PoPolitickin. And we're also looking for sponsors. So if you have a book, you have an album you're about to come out with, you're a record label, you're a magazine, anybody that has something they're trying to promote, let me know. You can email me at PoPolitickin@gmail. And we can work something out, work out a deal. But yeah, I'm looking for sponsors. So hit me up. And I appreciate all the support. And I'll see you next episode. Holla.
PoPolitickin.com.